Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope you're all having a beautiful day so far. Today I'm going to be sharing with you some spring and Easter DIYs using products from the Dollar Tree. All the projects turned out super cute. There's a little bit of neutral and a little bit of traditional spring colors in there, so there's something for everyone, and there's a couple decor dupes from Kirkland as well. So I hope you enjoy the combination today. Give the video a thumbs up if you do, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. That way you never miss out on DIY or home decor related videos. And if you enjoyed the video a lot, make sure to share it with your friends. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. For this project, I am going to be using the water-based stain and seal that Waverly sells. I use this for a ton of projects. You guys have seen this before. And I'm just going to rub this in. And I am using a real piece of wood here for this project. I'm actually going to be making it two-sided. So just keep that in mind. You can just use a piece of wood from Dollar Tree if you want to. But if you have a piece, get one. This is an 1x8. Once that is on, I am printed out Silly Rabbit, and I'm going to use my Floral transfer paper here. And the reason I like this is because it actually transfers on a white chalk onto it. You totally could just take chalk on the back. I don't know why I didn't do that, but I've had this swirl paper and I really like it for transferring words over. And basically, I'm just highlighting all the dark spots, and you can see that there. It'll rub right off, so whatever you don't end up painting, don't worry about it. It will come right off with a little bit of water. And once I got all the words traced out, then I just went in with some black paint and just filled in those lines. And of course you can use a Sharpie for this if you want to. But I'm just using regular black paint for this. Now I'm taking one of those bunnies that you can find at the Dollar Tree. They're a part of a garland that you find in a bag that I'll show you here soon. I just traced around that, and then I'm taking my Waverly white paint and I am just filling in this little bunny here. Now I'm going in with this style of rope straw that Dollar Tree carries, and you can find this on various projects there, but they actually sell it in a package, and it's only $1, so it's great for multiple projects that you might have coming up. And I'm just taking that with some hot glue and wrapping that into a circle, and then layering on the pieces, kind of swirling it into that circle shape, layering it on top of itself, just to add a little bit of depth to this tail. And once I get that where I want it, I just go ahead and snip off the rest. And then I took about 3 or 4 pieces of that twine and wrapped them together, and then just made a regular bow out of it. And I'm just going to hot glue that to the top of the sign. And this is the way the sign came out. I think it's absolutely adorable, and you can make it 2 different ways, a short or a long sign like I have here. For this DIY, you're going to want a decal that I got from Dollar Tree, some foam board you can find there if you're not using real wood like I am. You're going to want a ruler, some Mod Podge. You're going to also want Sharpie or black paint, and then you will also want scissors or something sharp to cut your foam board with if you end up doing that, or you can just use regular wood. Now, if you're going to be on a work surface that you don't want to ruin, put something underneath the foam board to cut on. I'm just using this 6-inch ruler right here and just going all the way down the foam board, and then pulling that down, making sure it is squared up away, and then going across the foam board. And you can see how it just detaches right there and just completely separates. So this is our new piece of wood now. I'm going to take a thing of scissors and I'm going to cut out just the top part of the flowers, because this decal, the blue is actually attached on it, so you could leave that if you wanted to, but I only wanted the flowers from this, and then it will just peel right off for you. They're really easy, and this one's actually a thicker decal, which I really like. Some of them are a little bit thinner. So now you just need to figure out how you want your florals to be placed on your on your sign. Now for this, feel free to cut off more of the floral like I just did here, and it's okay if it overhangs on the edges. It will actually give it a more realistic look. And this decal I really like because it actually looks like a watercolor, so it looks like you're painting this on when you're all finished. I just think it's a really beautiful look, and you can cut off as much as you want, and I'm just going to be staggering the florals up the sign as I go, and you'll see I kind of work it in two different parts. There's no right or wrong way to do this, it just depends on how much color you would like your sign to have. You could also go in and paint more florals on there if you wanted to. Now I'm just cutting off the excess that overhangs, and it gives it a really nice clean look. I'm so happy with this. Just try not to bend your foam board. So now it's time to use your ruler. I went ahead and spaced it all the way down to figure out how long I wanted each of my letters to be. Now working from the top, I went down 2 inches, and then I had each letter be 3 inches long, and then I spaced it 1.5 inches between each letter. So 1.5 inches between each letter, and then I give each letter 3 inches. Put little dots, that way I knew exactly where to put my letters. And I'm just taking a pencil and freehanding this. You could use a stencil for this, or you could use stick-on letters. Again, it's completely up to you. Dollar Tree doesn't have very large letters. I looked in the decal section. Theirs were about maybe 2 inches. And for this sign, I wanted it to be a good size sign. So it's almost 3 feet, and I really like this. So again, just kind of figure out what font you would like it to look like, and then just freehand that on. Now I'm not pressing very hard with my pencil in case I need to make different marks and erase anything. And then I went back and looked at the lettering that I wanted, and I just filled it in. And you can see now I'm adding more florals on there now that I know where my letters all are, because I didn't want to put them on and then have to take them off again and have it rip or something. So add as many florals as you would like. So I actually got this idea to make this from a sign that I saw at the store, and I had the wall decal already, and I thought this would be perfect. Now the one at the store has more florals on it, which you could definitely, like I said, paint more on, but this is so easy and just a great way to replicate something for a fraction of the cost. Now if you have wood on hand, definitely use wood to make it more permanent and make it last, obviously. Paint that wood white first, and then you can go in with a Sharpie if you wanted to, or a paint pen, or just freehand paint it yourself. It's completely up to you. But I'm just taking my Sharpie here and going around the letters that I traced on and then filling those in. And I just love how beautiful this is looking. Just remember, you don't have to spell out spring, you can spell out whatever you would like. This is just a general idea that you can tweak and make it your own and personalize it, but I think this sign is absolutely beautiful. Now what you can do is take some Mod Podge and cover up each of the florals if you wanted to. I would definitely recommend doing that if you were using it on actual wood so they stay on. But how beautiful did it turn out, you guys? It is so nice looking, and again, if you're going to be doing this on wood, I would definitely recommend painting the wood white and then adding your decals on and then painting it. For the next DIY project, you're going to want the wood egg with the stake on it. You're going to remove the bow and save that for later. You're also going to remove the stake from the egg, and then just take a little bit of sandpaper and sand down the little roughness that's on there. And then for the stake, you're going to actually cut that. I'm just using some wire cutters for this, and I'm just going to cut that so that can be a base for our egg to stand on. and you'll just want to sand down the edges so it's nice and smooth. So basically I'm just using half of the steak, and then I'm sanding down the bottom of the egg to make it flat. The next step is to take a Sharpie and trace your egg with the doily that you can find at Dollar Tree as well. They're sold in a 2-pack. Go ahead and cut that out, and then I'm going to take some hot glue and glue that on, but you can use Mod Podge. It's completely up to you. Both work just fine. And then you'll flip that over and cut off any of the excess from the doily. Then I'm taking some Dollar Tree rope and I'm going to wrap that around the edge of the egg. Then you're going to want to take that little stand that we cut, add some hot glue, and add a little block behind it just for some stability, and then glue on that bow that we took off in the beginning to the middle or to the bottom, and this is the way it came out, which I think looks really cute. For this DIY project, I'm going to be using these fabric bunnies that come in a garland shape along with a piece of cardboard. Now you can do this on real wood, but you will need a wood laser cutter or a special tool to do that, and I don't have one, so I wanted to show you how to replicate this Kirkland sign using the cardboard as the base. And it may seem cheap to you, but I promise you it'll hold up, and if you take care of it, it'll be just fine. I really like the way this project came together, and I think it's a great dupe for a fraction of the cost. So do what works best for you. If you have those fancy tools, awesome, I'm so happy for you. But for the rest of us that don't, this is a great alternative. So now that I got the outside shape traced out and cut, I am taking a knife here and just cutting out on the design that I did on both sides. And once you cut the one side, it'll show you where to cut the other side, and now you can kind of see how the bunnies are coming to shape here. You want to make sure that when you're cutting this, you allow the bunnies to stay connected together. You don't want to go all the way through because that gives us the stability for this sign to stay intact. So now that we have the base of the sign cut out, I'm going to take a piece of burlap, and I got this from Walmart. You can pick it up for just a few bucks, a couple yards of it, and I'm just tracing this out again. That way I can cover up the cardboard with the burlap on this because I think it looks a lot better, and you can always do a certain type of fabric if you don't like burlap for this project. So again, just take your scissors and trace it out. I'm going to be adhering this with some Mod Podge. You can use regular glue, you can hot glue it on, do what works best for you, whatever you have on hand, and then lay that on there. And it's starting to come together so nicely. The next step was to just take another bit of Mod Podge and just layer that on. That way it glues up nicely and hardens. I took the tails off of the other bunnies and glued those on, and then took the welcome sign that Dollar Tree carries and glued that on as well. I'm adding the rope to the back, that way you can hang up this sign, but honestly it's super cute on its own. This is how it turned out, and I think it's absolutely adorable, and I think it's a great dupe to the Kirkland's one. The next DIY project, we are going to be using this blanket that you can find at Dollar Tree. You can use whatever fabric you happen to have on hand as well. You don't have to get fabric from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to be using that bunny again as the shape, and I'm just going to trace it out with a Sharpie so that it shows up on my burlap. And I ended up just folding that over, that way I could cut 2 bunnies at one time. I ended up using 3 bunnies for this lumbar pillow though. So get 3 shapes. You're going to hot glue this on. You can use some fabric tack glue for this as well, but the hot glue adheres just fine to the fleece blanket that I am using for this project. Just glue that bunny down and the rest of his little pack there. Now I'm just going to run a bead of hot glue along the edges of the pillow, and doing 3 edges, and then I will insert my insert, and then I have a pillow that was a no-sew. You can obviously sew this if you want to, but I think it's super cute and perfect for some seasonal decor. It didn't cost me but $2 to make. The next DIY, you're going to want this flower tin from the Dollar Tree, as well as some eggs from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to be using lilacs for this, as well as the green hydrangeas. I think they're really beautiful, this color green. I'm going to be using some white flat paint as well as some black as well. a glue gun, and then if you cannot find the eggs, you could also use the small bunnies depending on what you want to go for. You want some foam to stick the flowers in, so glue that down to the bottom of your tin. And then I'm actually going to whitewash all of this tin, and it's going to give it more of an enamel look, scraped up and everything. So if you use the Waverly paint, you'll need about 1 good coat. If you're using regular acrylic paint, you might need 2. Go ahead and lather that on, and then once that has dried a bit, go ahead and take your black paint and just start highlighting different parts of the tin that you want. I highlighted the bottom, and then I put a couple darker marks around it, kind of that way it looked like it was enameled. And then I'm also going to go in and highlight the letters as well. This is optional. You'll see in the end how I finish this off, but I really liked highlighting them. I thought it just added an extra touch to it. I'm going to start with my hydrangeas first, and I cut them about 5 to 6 inches in length, and I'm just adding those all the way around the border. Now, a viewer did suggest that adding moss to the foam would fill up the bottom so you don't have to use as many flowers, which I thought was a great option. So if you don't have as many flowers as I'm using here, 3 bundles, you can obviously just go in with some moss. So thank you for suggesting that. I also am going to be taking the leftover part of the flower stem and using that and gluing that to the bottom of my eggs. The original eggs I showed you are from Dollar Tree, but I painted the black and I didn't like the way they look, so I'm using these ones that I had extra of and just adding them to the stem here. So you can do whichever one. I really liked the more natural wood tone coming out of the flowers. I like the coloring better. So once you have that all done, then I went ahead and took some sandpaper and started highlighting the lower letters. So the top ones I painted black, and then the bottom ones I'm just taking the sandpaper and highlighting them. So you can see the difference there. I'm also roughing it up in a few different areas, and then I'm just taking a little bits of it off because I like the black showing, but also a little bit of the original tin color showing through. I think it's really pretty looking and just has that old vintage vibe to it. So I'm very happy with the way this came together, especially with the lilacs and the hydrangeas. And you could also, if you didn't want to do the eggs, like I said, you could add bunnies to this as well, or you could take one of the bunnies from the other signs that I've showed you in my previous DIYs, add a popsicle stick to him and stick him in, so he's a little bit fuller looking, which I actually like a lot. For this DIY, you could use the traditional wreath form that Dollar Tree has, but the Forsythia isn't super thick, so I didn't want the wire to show through, so I'm going to be making a wreath holder out of this wire, floral wire, and I'm just twisting it at one end, and then I'm just going to loop that around however much I can and just kind of twist this together. It's pretty flexible, it's not hard to work with at all, but I will say after putting this together I wish I would have painted this brown, so maybe do that if you're going to be making this DIY, or you could leave it green. It's completely up to you what you want to do. So all I'm doing is taking the Forsythia and I'm going to bend that around the shape of my wreath, and then you can chop off the end of the sprig, but I try not to cut my florals if I don't have to. So I'm just going to wrap this around, and don't worry, it'll all flow really nicely together. So once you get the first piece on, then you'll take your next piece and you'll just kind of overlap that just a little bit. And again, if you want this to be super thick, you could have 6 to 8 of the sprigs, but I'm only using 4 here. So I'm making it work the best I can, and I really like this because this wreath at the stores is about $20 to $30 depending on where you're shopping. So the fact that we can make this for a couple bucks is really nice. I'm just going to be cutting a little bit of the thin wire, and I'm going to be using that to hold down the thinner parts of the flowers, and then just twist that on, that way it stays on the wreath holder, and I'll do that in a couple different spots. This is how it will look when you're done. I actually decided that I wanted to add a few different things, so I'm going to be using some white lilacs, this welcome metal sign from fall time, and then some ribbon. I'm just going to cut the lilacs off at the very base of the sprig, and then you can wire these in, you can glue these in, you can do this however you like. I just started alternating them a couple inches away from each other, and I like this, and I'm keeping them all going in the same direction around the wreath. So once you get all of those in, it will look absolutely beautiful. I think it will be beautiful for a spring wedding as well. Now I'm just taking about 6 inches of the green wire and wrapping that around each end of my welcome cutout, and then I will go ahead and attach that to the wreath on each side. I didn't want to glue this in because the width of the wreath was a little bit too wide, so you can just tie this in wherever you would like to have it. Go ahead and just take a little scraper or like a screwdriver or something and peel those 2 pieces off and save them. And then you're going to do the same thing to the bunny, just slowly peel him off and remove the rest. You can use either sign for this. I'm actually going to be using the thinner sign for this. So I'm just going to remove the tag on the back, and then I'm just going to start by dry brushing some white paint on here. Dry brushing is when you just have a little bit of paint on your paintbrush, and then it gives it kind of more of that chippy farmhouse look, which is the look I'm going for. And if you happen to get too much, you can always rub it off. Once I get the white all the way on, then I'm going to go in with a smaller paintbrush and use my dark gray for that, just to give it an old wood look to it. Again, you can choose your preference. If you want to do it solid white, feel free to do that as well. Take my glue gun and put glue on the back of those strips, and then we're going to attach them kind of the way they were on the front side, just about 1.5 inches down from the very top, and then I'll go ahead and attach the one to the very bottom as well. You can decide your design for this. This is what I wanted to do, and I like the detailing of the sign being kind of off on each top and the bottom here. So once you get that glued down, then you're going to go ahead and add glue to the back of the bunny as well. And you can center this, which is sort of what I did. I put him off a little bit more towards the right side here. Now you can leave the sign completely like this, which is super cute. It's very neutral. But I decided to take the Dollar Tree carrots that they have. They're made out of jute twine, and so I wanted to mute out the orange, and then I just brushed on the white paint, and then I glued it down as if the bunny was trying to grab the carrot, and I just think it's so cute. For the next sign, you're going to want that same Easter bunny sign as well as a glue gun, and then you're going to want your choice of flowers. I'll be using some lilacs here, as well as, I thought these were tulips, but they're called crocus. I'm not sure if I'm saying that properly or not, but you can let me know. You can also use some eggs as well as some rope, and I'm going to be using some black paint for this as well. And then I'm going to be using these adhesive stick-on letters. So again, just remove that bunny as we did last one, and then go ahead and cut your flowers off here, and I'm going to do that to all of them. So I decided to take my wire cutters and then just chop off the extended edges of the sign. I didn't like how it was jagged, so I wanted to make sure it was just a complete rectangle for me and easy to work with. Then I'm going to add a perimeter of hot glue all the way around the sign, working in about 6 to 8 inches at a time and gluing on my rope here. Now this is completely optional. I thought it would be really nice to frame the sign in this, but it also covered up the jagged edges as well. So just do that all the way around the sign. You can figure out where you want your bunny to be if you want him to be more vertical or horizontal. I decided to do the sign vertical, and so I'm just bending my flowers in right now to kind of see how I want them to lay. And I like to use my flowers for different projects, so that's why I'm not snipping them super low. I thought this would be really pretty just gluing them down with the lilac, especially since it's all white. So if you want a completely neutral sign, you can do just this if you wanted to, but I am going to add lots of color to this, and we are going to make it look really beautiful. So once you get those all glued down, I definitely suggest keeping the greenery on there, since the bunny is kind of in a field of flowers. I think it looks really good. For the tulips, I actually decided to pull off the stems and then just glue on the leaves by themselves because they were quite long. I'm pausing on the flowers for a second. I wanted to add the black paint on the rope so it almost looks like it's burnt. Now this is optional. You could do this with white paint as well, but I really like the way the black makes the edging stand out, kind of like on a wood frame sign. I'm going to add a little bit of glue to the back part of them and then just place them there at the very bottom. And I really like the way this is coming out together. You could use different flowers for this and multiple colors if you wanted to. Next, I'm just adding a little bit of glue to the back of the bunny and then placing him in there. You could leave him just like this if you wanted to, but I wanted to add some wording on the top, so that's where we're going to use those adhesive letters. You could freehand this or paint these on, it's completely up to you. So I just had enough of the stick-on letters to make the word welcome on there. So once you get those on, you can reposition them, but I really love the way this sign came out. I think this is definitely my favorite. You guys will have to let me know at the end which sign is your favorite. So next you're going to want just a sign from Dollar Tree, a bunny cut out. I printed that out from online. Some scissors, a pencil, some paint brushes, some paint of choice, and again some rope and a glue gun. Now you can go online and just print out, you can type in a bunny printout, and that's all I did. And then I'm actually going to be using some white paint and just painting the back of my sign here. Now you can use a canvas from Dollar Tree if you wanted to. This is about an 8x8 size piece of wood here. I'm going to put my bunny cut out on it and then just trace all the way around that with my pencil. And you can choose whatever size bunny that you want or whatever shape bunny. I thought this one was really cute and it was super easy. And then I'm just going to take my paint and start outlining my bunny. That way I know where I need to paint the bunny. Then I drew a circle all the way around the bunny here, and I just put the black paint on there as well. And then I'm just going back and forth, making like a little bit of a leaf detail on each side. This is completely optional. You can do whatever you want here. I just thought it would be really pretty looking around the bunny. And then I'm going to go back in with my sponge brush and just fill in that bunny. And again, you can choose the coloring that you want for the bunny as well. I'm going to line the edging of my sign with the hot glue and then just glue the rope all the way around the sign. And again, you can choose what you wanted to. I thought this would be a really nice way to frame the sign. And you can paint the rope if you wanted to black, or you could paint it white or just leave it natural. That's what I'm going to do here. Cut off the extra edge and then just glue down the frayed part. That way it doesn't unravel on you. Now you could leave it just like this, and all I did was actually trim off the edges so that it bent around with the sign, since the rope doesn't quite have a straight edge on it. That's optional, you guys don't have to do that. And then I'm going to go ahead and add a part to hang it on with, so I'm just cutting another piece of rope a little bit shorter, adding a little bit of glue to the back, sort of near the top of the rope on the other side. And then you're done. You have a really cute, easy farmhouse sign that you can customize to, you can even put lettering on it if you wanted to. I just think it's super cute. So let me know which project was your favorite, and also please be sure to give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends. It's completely free to do, and it definitely helps us creators out here. So with that, I hope you all have an amazing day. Check the description box for more videos, and I will see you all in the next one.